So the other day I was working with one of my students on a wonderful technique called legato, which, if you don't know, this is an instance of a phrase that is not legato. And then that same phrase played legato, it's kind of smooth. And in the case of the guitar, legato very often means using techniques like hammer-ons and pull-offs. And those are incredible techniques, especially when we want to be upping our speed and playing a little bit faster than we're maybe comfortable with. So I wanted to make a video detailing one of my favorite ways to practice playing legato, and it's something that no matter what level you are on the guitar, whether you're intermediate, whether you're advanced, you can definitely benefit from doing some practice with. It involves simple tools that we already have at our disposal, I'm sure. It's a pretty simple method, but it gets really, really good results. And let me tell you a little bit more about it. So whenever a student asks me about playing legato, which again on the guitar tends to translate to hammer-ons and pull-offs, which again, maybe that's a subject for a whole other video, fixing some of that technique. But in this one, we're talking all about my favorite way to practice legato exercises. And in my experience as both a player and as a teacher, one of the big struggles with playing the guitar in a legato fashion is that our fingers on our left hand, or our right hand if we're left-handed, but our fret hand can sometimes get carried away and a little bit sloppy and either be rushing or falling behind in terms of the order of note, or not the order of notes, but the metronomic placement of the notes, and it can fall off when it's not being held accountable by our right hand having to pick out every single one like we would when we were alternate picking. And so this is a really, really simple exercise, but again, it does yield really, really good results. And I have to bend down to grab my phone here, but all you need to follow this practice method is a metronome app, or Google has a metronome built into it if you just Google metronome. I'm, in this instance, going to use an app. And I'm going to set it for 100 beats per minute. If this is too fast for you, that is so totally okay. I wouldn't worry about following along. Just try to keep this, take these ideas and slow down the metronome for you. What I'm going to do is take a scale that I know really well. I'm going to start with the pentatonic. I'm also going to pause the metronome while I explain this to you. But the reason that I like the pentatonic scale is that the pentatonic shapes on the guitar are always 2 notes per string. So you're always going from either your pointer finger or your middle finger to your pinky or your ring finger when you play these pentatonic scales. I'm going to start out in the key of A minor, because that tends to be one that we know really, really well. And if you don't know it, it looks like this. Now, the great thing about this scale, or this technique, is it can be applied to any of the scales that you know. So if you don't know the minor pentatonic very well, you can of course do this with another scale. But let's jump right into the exercise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play in 8th notes, and that means that I'm playing 2 notes per click here. So it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And those ands are all going to be hammer-ons while I'm going up the scale, and there'll be pull-offs on the way down. So this would end up looking like, I'll do it once ascending A minor. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I played it all the way up and all the way down there. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And the goal with this, when you go through, again, the metronome is to help you keep it all in time so that you're actually synced and you're actually playing what you think you're playing, rather than accidentally kind of speeding up and getting sloppy with it. So the metronome gives you real feedback. You want to be as robotic as humanly possible. I'll do this one more time for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. So there, I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So on the way up, I'm doing hammer-ons. On the way down, I'm doing pull-offs. And that metronome is telling me whether I'm speeding up or slowing down anywhere during the process. Now, let's look at an example where, say, we go from A minor to one of my favorite keys on the guitar, which is the key of G major, because it sits incredibly well. We could do this with a major pentatonic. I'll do a really, really quick demo for you, but then I'll get into where this exercise goes to the next level and gets a little bit more interesting. But here, I can do the same thing. So I'm picking ones per string. I'm playing the G major shape now. It's going to sound and look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I had a nasty string ring out there, so I'll do that one more time. And again, that metronome is just keeping me super, super locked in. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the full G major scale. Now this is where this exercise goes to the next level, because now there are some strings where I will be playing 3 notes. And this is where my students tend to fall apart timing-wise with legato, is because having to do those pull-offs on less, or sorry, having to do more pull-offs or more hammer-ons encourages their hand to get a little bit out of sync. So, same rules apply. I'm only picking ones per string, and then I'm hammering on and pulling off the rest of the notes. So really quickly, I'll go through it nice and slow for you with a diagram up here, and then I'll do it once with the metronome at 100. But I would sound kind of like this. Now on the way down again, these are all pull-offs. So, and at the very end there, I should mention, I did that whole E string with only one pick. So up, and then I just pull off from there. That's how I like to do it. If you need to give yourself an extra pick up at the top, that's okay. I would just work slowly towards not needing that. But anyways, here's a full G major with the metronome. I'll do it twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, difficult exercise, work your way up to it and keep kind of, pushing the tempo as you can. But that's a fantastic way to work on legato and keep your hands actively behaving and staying in line. Again, this works for any scale that you know super well. You can use Dorian for this. You could use melodic minor for this. You can use any scale that you've been practicing. And it's just a really nice way to go, because then before you know it, if you're improvising over a backing track or jamming with some buddies, you might end up accidentally going on a really fast legato run, and now your fingers will kind of be trained to know what to expect. But again, the things that we want to prioritize rather than speed, even though this exercise is one that's kind of designed to help us play smoother and faster. Rather than only working on speed, I would get you to also worry about the clarity of your notes and staying super locked in and metronomic with that metronome. You want to be super tight with this, because this is something that the faster it gets, it tends to become a little bit of a slop fest. And we don't want it to be a slop fest. We want it to be clean, we want it to be controlled, and we want it to sound awesome. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you. If you could like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, that would truly help me out more than you know. I've got links down below if you want to support me in the channel on Patreon and get early access to videos. I have links to my video course and my ebook down there as well. If you want, you can book a guitar lesson with me down in that description as well. I'd love to work with you on whatever's troubling you on the guitar. And last but not least, I've got new videos coming out every week, so I hope to see you in the next one. And until I do, I'll wish you a wonderful day, and I hope you have some fun playing the guitar.